And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Dream On from Cool Mini or Not. Now, I mean, come on, it's another dreaming game. There's actually several dreaming games out here, but this is a cooperative party game, which is kind of a weird thing. It's a cooperative party game where you're telling a dream and have memory involved. But don't run anywhere yet. Let me explain to you how it works. So in this game, you're going to have a big stack of dreaming cards. Each player is going to have 3 of those. One card is going to be flipped over face up to start the dream. Well, that's kind of a weird dream. So if I'm the dream master or whatever, I would say, in my dream, I saw a hair on the floor. And people are going to start playing cards from their hand. And you can do this in any order. You play a card and draw a new one. And I'll say, this hair pointed towards a map of the world where I knew that I need to go on a trip. And then the next person plays a card and says, suddenly I was swept up in a pile of drugs. I took some drugs. It was like in the Matrix. And another person says, and right when I did that, an alien ship came and abducted me from my house. And inside the alien ship, an alien pointed and said, go, you must find the artifact. Which apparently was a bunch of golden carrots that I had to find. So I met my friend Bob at a soccer game. And Bob and me were talking, and Bob said, I will help you find this artifact. Bob was kind of a hippie, kind of a weird chap, but he did love flowers, and we knew that the artifact was probably hidden in a garden somewhere. The problem was Bob had a hard time seeing, so I needed to find somebody else to go with us to be able to help him find things and see things. We finally determined that it was in a garden hidden up in the Antarctic. So Bob and me headed up there, riding on a giant bird. Now here's the deal, folks. While this is all going off, this timer is running. When the timer runs out, the story's over. When the story's over, the last person to go flips this over. And you're going to put out 3 cards here, a +2, a +1, and a -2. Now each player who is involved in the game is going to have to, starting with the person who finished, they'll take the first card. And you have to recount the dream and remember what's on that card. And so, let me see, I remember there was a giant hair that we found on the floor. So I turn it over, I'm correct, I put it here. And then I'll say, and there was a map of the world that this hair was pointing to. I'm correct. And then I might forget the next one, so I'm allowed to ask one person at the table for help, because each person is going around the table. So when I'm done, it's Mary's turn, after Mary, Suzanne, after Suzanne, Bob, etc., etc. So the next person, I don't remember, it had something to do with drugs, they might say. And Bob's like, oh, you're right, was it drugs? You're right. So the drugs came next. Oh, the next person's like, I know, it was aliens. Aliens abducted me. And they pointed their finger and said, go. And the next person says, and yes. And then they said, find the golden carrots. Oh, that's right. And then it was with your friend the hippie. Oh, no, that's incorrect. You went to a soccer game, so we put this one here. It was incorrect. Next person's like, well, there was where we met the hippie. When that goes up here. And you're going to keep doing this, and cards are going to be placed in this various piles. At the end of the game, you're going to add together all the points. Each card here is worth 2. Each card's here worth 1. Each card here is worth -2. We'll take a look at the rule book, see how many points we got. It will tell you how good of a score you have gotten. And that's how you play the game. The game, of course, is going to come with a ton of pictures. They're cartoony artwork, and they do a good job at evoking a lot of different feelings and different things that can happen. And your dream is basically up to you. The cards are there just to kind of give you something to go off of. And they do a really good job at having all different genres and things and colors and fantasy and sci-fi and, they're really well done. For what this game is needed, they're done. The game is pretty good quality. The cards are fine. There's a timer and 3 other cards. Everything fits inside a box, which is easily a lot larger than you need it to be. And in the box has colorful things on it. But the components for this game are good. Yeah, so this game is pretty simple, honestly. It's like any of these other storytelling games, except the cooperative nature. And I like that. Now, granted, you could buy one of these other storytelling games and play the same game with it. This game has the +2, +1, -2 point card and has a timer. But memory is a difficult thing, right? You'll be like, oh, I forget that guy's name and this. But when you're telling this story, and it's a hilarious story, everyone's having a great time and playing cards. And honestly, this game, you can play cards as much as you want. It doesn't matter if you don't play as many cards, you're still involved. And the story's funny. And so when you flip the deck over, and then everyone is going to play equally, you're going around each person, you are remembering this crazy story that was told. And some parts of it you're going to really remember. You're like, oh yeah, definitely after the lion showed up, that's when we took the rocket in outer space. I definitely remember that. But there are other parts that you'll miss, and then when you flip the card over, you're like, ah! So it's not so hard to get a score, a higher score. Now those high scores in there that are worth a lot of points that say, you're the best, amazing, they're pretty hard to get to because you need to get a lot of cards out during the time and then get them all correct. And I think some competitive people aren't going to really like this that much because essentially it doesn't matter. There's no winner, no loser. You're just playing and you look at your final score. And if someone's super competitive and they're like, no, this is how the game's supposed to be, blah, 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 they're going to really irritate everybody else who's involved. You know, everyone else is going to look at it like, oh, we're just playing for fun. So if you go into Dream On and say, hey, we're playing for fun, and you take the cool artwork and the memory element and the fun dream storytelling, this is actually one of the first storytelling games I've played in a long time that I was like, yeah, I'm on board with this one. We're not telling stories that are crazy, which are fun, which is fun to do, and then have some weird scoring system. Now the scoring system here works really well because we're all doing it together. If that sounds interesting to you, and it does to me, I would check out Dream On. Dice Tower Judgment approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.